Alright, so I haven't actually ever done a video of how I came out and the reactions. So when I was 15 going on 16, at first I came out as a lesbian. I thought that's all it was. I thought that I just didn't like guys. That's all I thought it was. Right before I turned 16, or right after, I'm not quite sure on the time, I was talking with the girl I was dating at the time and realized that I was transgender. We talked about it. She had no problems with it. And I was also talking to my Aunt Dee Dee at the time about it. And those were the first two people that I told. Very supportive, very loving from my aunt. She did not care. My aunt is older. My aunt is the oldest out of 7. My dad is the next one after her. But very accepting. She loved me. She said that she loved me no matter what. And then I decided to come out to my brother and my brother's girlfriend at the time, who has my youngest niece. My brother wasn't accepting, still isn't to this day. His girlfriend at the time, my niece's mom, was very accepting. She still is. She loves me. She loves the fact that I'm there for my niece. And then I didn't actually come out to my mom. I did not. Even though my mom is gay. And some people ask, well, why didn't you come out to your mom? When it comes to your parents, it's very hard for a child, no matter what, to come out to the parent as anything. Because, especially transgender, I feel, no offense to anybody else, but when you're transgender, you're not only telling your parents that you may not be marrying the person that they thought you were going to marry, but you're also telling them you're not the person that they raised for however many years until you came out. Including the 9 months that your mom carried you in your stomach. Well, a little less than that, because, they don't know gender until a couple of... And I shouldn't say gender. They don't know sex until a couple of months into the pregnancy, so... But that's still besides the point. They spend however many months and years picking out baby names, because, some people pick out baby names before they're even pregnant. It does happen, so I'm just saying. But at the least, they spend 9 months coming up with a name, and then maybe 6 months definitive on that name, and then you're born. You're born as blankety blank with the sex blank. And that's what you are. You're a baby. You have no say. You're a baby. You can't even talk. But you know what? As you get older, you realize who you are. I mean, I was 16, almost 16. Would you sit down? So, that was 16 and a half years of my mom calling me by one name, calling me by one set of pronouns. And sometimes I believe us, as transgender individuals, we put a lot of, I shouldn't say stress, because it's not stress, but you can't expect your parent in one day or 1 month to flip a switch and start calling you by a new name or new pronouns. I'm sorry, but you can't expect that. I never expected it from my mom. I never did. Not even my stepmom. I didn't expect them to flip a switch and start calling me by a different name and different pronouns. I didn't expect it. My mom, of course, told me that she loved me. She wanted to know, they sat me down, they asked me how I knew, and, we had a long discussion about it, because they didn't want me to make a hasty decision that maybe I couldn't take back. Once you start testosterone, you grow hair, especially if your family is prone to hair, which mine is. I mean, it only took me a couple of months on testosterone to start growing hair, visible hair on my face, so to start that process and not actually know, and then come off of it, that hair is still going to be there. Like, it's still going to grow in as much as it did. It may not grow in more, but it may also. You never know. And then you could also have the possibility of never being able to have children if you realize that you're not really transgender, that's not what you are, and so on and so forth. There are many reasons why your parents may want you to actually think about it first before they start putting you on hormones. They may want you to see a therapist. Well, that's fine. Tell them to find a transgender specialist therapist. There are some out there. There are plenty, probably, I'm assuming. But when I turned, trying to think, 19, I got my name changed legally. I still have not gotten my birth marker changed, even though I was born in New York. Legally I can. So I believe that, I don't believe, I know that once I am able to, I'm going to go up to Albany, which is where birth certificates are, or that's the only place they can be changed for New York, because of 9/11, I guess. I don't know, something like that. So when I get a chance, I will be going up there to do that. But in hindsight, I believe I am and was a lot luckier than most people who come out as transgender. I mean, my mom is gay. There was no way she was going to kick me out. I don't ever live with my father. I never have. So I never had to worry about that. My dad isn't, I shouldn't say he's not accepting. He's not a very open person. Doesn't talk about his feelings. He doesn't act mad at me. He doesn't not talk to me. So, I mean, I assume that he's not horribly mad at me. My grandmother does try to call me Eric. She really does. And she writes Eric on all my birthday cards, Christmas cards, and so on forth. My grandfather, on the other hand, he blatantly said he doesn't understand it, and he blatantly just calls me by my old name. But he's old, and I kind of let it go. It's hard to correct somebody you don't see all the time. I mean, I'm only up there for holidays, and every once in a while, if I have to pick up a load near my grandparents' house, because they do have a factory out there that I've picked up from before. So I don't see them that often, and I don't expect him to remember. He's had a heart attack. He's old. I let it go. My stepmom was very accepting. My stepmom and I get along very well. We did have a touchy relationship when I was younger, but since then we have been able to understand each other, and we get along very well, and I love my stepmom. She's a wonderful person. She's a wonderful mom. My parents did a lot for me when I was a kid. Back to when I was younger, my senior year. My 11th grade year, I had been getting picked on a lot. I wasn't in a lot of fights, as I had been through 6th to 9th grade. 6th to 9th grade and somewhat through 10th grade. I had not been in a lot of fights, but I was getting picked on a lot for being transgender. For also being a bigger kid. I've always been a bigger kid. That's how it is. But it was mostly for me being transgender. And the fact that people picked on me for being fat, I could get over that. But picking on me for something that I couldn't necessarily control, as being transgender, is not something I could control. Trust me, if I could have, I would have chose not to be. I would have lived a lot easier life. That's what some people don't understand. Nobody chooses to be gay, bi, or transgender. It doesn't happen, because you would live a hell of a lot easier life if you were heterosexual. You would. It's just a fact. On the other note, my parents, my mom, my stepmom, decided in my senior year that they were willing to take out a loan for, I believe it was either $10,000 or $15,000, to be able to send me to a school in Utah that is specifically for LGBT teens. They wanted me to have a good senior year. They wanted me to have a wonderful senior year and experience friendship and things that I probably would not and did not experience as a senior in my senior class. I had decided against it because I was doing half days where I went to work at the end of the halfway through the school day. So I decided against it. I only went to class for 4 periods a day, and then I was gone. But when I was getting picked on at school, it wasn't so much as, oh, you're not really a guy, you're a girl, blah blah blah. No, it was. It's hard for me to say. I haven't really talked about it with anybody.
Visitors again? Yates has a lot of friends. Yates!
It was a lot of the guys in sports teams who would act interested in me, as in sexually interested in me, and try to flirt with me, even though I'm not into guys, and I never really have been. I used to make up boyfriends to be normal, and I just never have been into boys. And they used to try and hold my hand during class. They used to write notes and pass them to me, and it was very hard. I'm sure a lot of people who see this, who went to school with me, don't understand how hard it was on me. Because even though my family accepted me and loved me, I did attempt suicide twice. 3 times actually. After my first niece was born, things got very hard at school. And that was the first time I attempted suicide. I'm not going to say how because I don't want to give people ideas. Obviously, it did not work. The second time, my brother, who I no longer speak to, actually called me. And that's what stopped me from trying to commit suicide the second time. He called me and he told me that I was having a second niece. So that put a lot of things into perspective for me. That would be why I have both of my nieces tattooed on my leg, and I have this tattoo for my other niece. So, and then my third time was in college, my first semester. I didn't know, my mom had told me that I wasn't allowed to live at home anymore because she had not when she went to college. We did fight over that for a while, about a year. We probably fought about that, and since then, I have let it go. I have realized that that's how she grew up. I'm not saying that my mom was a horrible parent when I went to college. She helped me move in. She bought a lot of stuff that I needed for college. My mom was not a horrible person. I took it hard because I did not expect to be living on my own at such a young age. So I was very stressed out. I didn't know what I was going to do come after winter break. The first winter break I did go home because it was Christmas time. But come summer break, I did not know what I was going to do. I didn't know where I was going to live. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know if I was going to have to live out of my car. I didn't know. So I did attempt suicide, and what stopped me, I wasn't dating her at the time, my fiance, but she had called me and invited me over for Netflix. We were going to watch Duck Dynasty. She was really into that when we were in college. And we were going to watch Duck Dynasty. So that, she kept me from attempting to commit suicide the third time. I have not attempted since I was 18. I don't have any need to. I'm loved. I have a beautiful fiance. I have a good job. I make good money. Both my parents love me. My dad is, just there. But I have 3 nieces, and my fiance has a nephew and a niece. So I just wish somebody in my family would pop out a damn boy. That's besides the point. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how I came out, and some of the struggles I went through. Obviously not as bad as others, but there's still struggles. And the message of this video is give your parents time. Give them time. Just because they don't start calling you by the name that you go by and the pronouns you go by within a month does not mean they don't love you. Because they do. as long as they don't kick you out or threaten to kick you out, they love you. Trust me. They just need time. The second thing is it does get better. I understand that things are very hard. I do. I get it. From the bottom of my heart, I totally get it. Things are hard, but they will get better. My third thing is men and women who go to school with kids who are transgender. Don't hit on them to try to turn them straight or to make a joke or whatever. It's not funny. You don't realize the serious damage that you could be or are doing to them. So to the boys who did that to me, I want to say that I have a beautiful fiance. I started taking hormones. I had my name legally changed. I lease my own semi-truck. I make about $2,000 every week. I have a way better life than probably most of you. And honestly, you guys, everybody picking on me at school, I shouldn't say it made me stronger. It made it so that when people pick on me, I can just brush it off and walk away. I'm not saying that's a good thing, because sometimes you do need to vent about that, and I just let it go. I don't normally talk about it. So just remember, when you pick on somebody, you are causing damage, emotional, if not physical. So think about that. Other than that, I hope all of you come to terms with who you are, and I hope that your family comes to terms with who you are, and I hope things get better. Yeah, but that's the story on how I became Eric. I hope you all enjoy.